Welcome to today's Better Way Thursday workshop. We're really excited about the conversation we're going to have today. We are discussing launching a career in technical skills, and we have some great guests, fun panelists, and the opportunity to talk about a program that we're going to be launching with tech moms coming up this summer. So some good things to talk about today. Just an additional piece of information for everybody. Next week, our Better Way Thursday is also going to be very special. We have Vanessa Quigley, who is the co-founder and chapbooker-in-chief at Chapbooks, is talking about how raising 7 children prepared her to become Entrepreneur of the Year. So Vanessa's a fantastic speaker, and she does a great job of talking about balancing, I know Trina hates that word, integrating your life and your work and all the other things you have going on. So please join us next week as well for that workshop. But today we are going to start off with hearing from Trina Lemper, the co-founder of Tech Moms, talking a little bit about her tech sales career. And then we are going into a panel with Amanda and Andrea and Danette, who are all working in technical sales right now. And then after our panel, we will discuss a new program that we have coming up. So Trina, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, great. Thanks, Robin. Really excited to be here. As I was mentioning before we started the recording, I'm really passionate about technical sales and sales positions and have had an incredible career in technology. And one of those positions that I had was in technical sales. So today I'm going to share a little bit of my career journey and how I use sales every moment of every day, even to this day, and some of the skills that I learned. So I actually started out my career, I got a computer science degree back in 1998. I did my associate's degree in computer science. So I'm dating myself a little bit, but moved into a position as a network engineer, then became a business systems analyst and learned a lot on how to implement and deploy large enterprise systems at a company called Novell. If anybody remembers that company. Yeah, we've got a few hands. I see some hands raised. And then I was working at Novell, and at the time, Novell was in a little bit of a flux. We'd gone through quite a few rifts and had made it through, and just wasn't sure where I was going there. But I'd had a prior manager reach out and say, "Hey, Trina, we've got these amazing positions in technical consulting in the inside sales position over here at Oracle. Are you interested?" And I had never even thought about sales. It never crossed my mind that this was even an opportunity or that there was a technical position for it. So had kind of went, well, let's go see what this is all about. And went and interviewed. And it was a really scary interview, actually, for me. I sat in front of a panel of 6, 7 people, and I had to actually go out and sell and pitch in front of them. I had never done it before, but kind of stepped back and used some of the skills that I had learned in implementing and saying, you always have to have executive buy-in. How do you really create transformations within companies? How do you create change? And used a lot of my background and skills I had before to sell this panel in my interview. And it went well. Obviously, I got the job and was successful there. But I probably studied more for that interview than I have any of my other interviews since. It was pretty intense, but I was really curious about this role and the opportunities there, and saw the opportunity to work for a great company like Oracle was huge for me. And so as I started working in sales, I found that I had a great knack for it, which I think a lot of women do, as far as we are problem solvers quite often. And that's what sales is. You're solving problems. You're taking a technology stack that is needed, and there's a reason it exists, and it's driving business and it's helping with change. And your job is to explain how this benefits them as a company and how it's going to build and solve problems for them. And I'm like, that's all sales is. You're just solving problems. And, some of the, we in Tech Moms, we always say we're demystifying the tech industry. I think that's another demystification point for sales, and really understanding that it's not some of these perceptions we have in our heads of what sales is, these type A personalities, super competitive, really intense, and there's some of that does go on. But I would say, really stepping back and going, what is it that really makes a great salesperson is somebody that can look at the issues and understand what's happening for a company and be able to explain how your solutions are going to benefit them. That's what makes the sale. And so I got really good at doing that. And so for 3 years, I worked in technical sales at Oracle, was what they call a senior technical consultant. So I actually would build the solutions and then demonstrate them and then do sales in that role. And really what I found after that, I moved on to eBay and some other roles as far as doing, I took a role as a senior analyst in technology for customer experience. And then I started to use my sales background and understanding to create change within our organization. So one of the things that I found was that we needed a product organization. We did not have one at the time that I was working. And I kept seeing this gap in our organization and how we needed to run and solve these problems again. And so I put my sales hat on again, and I created a pitch deck internally with our executive teams to get buy-in, ended up establishing and building this organization from scratch. And because you become a problem solver, and I knew how to sell, I knew how to put value statements forward, I knew how to get buy-in, I knew how to go get other people to buy in. These skills I learned actually helped me develop my career. And as we started our nonprofit, we're selling day in and day out, right? We're selling, we're fundraising, we're pitching, we're talking, and those skills we continue to use. So I think that what I've found with throughout my career is that was such a huge benefit to me, and being able to get in. Not only that, but then the pay was really good, right? There was a lot of upside financially within these roles that I didn't understand was there before. And really, there's a huge demand. We get calls, I'm sure Robin can attest to this. We get calls probably, I probably get 3 or 4 requests a week, if not more, on can you help us find technical sales? So the demand for this role is really high as well. And so your people are wanting to hire you. They're looking for you. They're looking for people that will step into these skills and take advantage of these opportunities. So that's a little bit about me and what I wanted to share today before we turn it over. So hopefully that helps you each get excited about the role and technical sales.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Trina. I remember my dad telling me many, many years ago, every job is a sales job. You're either selling internally to your teammates, to your managers, to your bosses, trying to get support resources for what you need, or you're selling externally. And sometimes you're doing both, but learning how to feel okay about sales, demystifying it as you talked about, and learning these skills, valuable in every single area. So before we move on to the panel, I would like to introduce Lynette Richardson, and she is one of the co-founders of Utah Women in Sales. I don't know how many of you are aware that there is a professional organization devoted specifically to supporting, lifting, and advancing women within the sales industry. So Lynette, I'm going to turn about 10 minutes over to you to talk. Don't talk about yourself too much, because I want you to do it on the panel too, but talk about your organization, what you do, what your mission is, and how our tech moms can get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to feed off of what you just said, every job is a sales job, even being a mom. I mean, if you've had teenagers, if you can negotiate and close a teenager, you can take on a CEO any day. So those are the hardest sales. And I know I've got a lot of kids. So yeah, I've been in sales for a long time. I've tried different sales. I about 12 years ago switched into tech sales, and I found myself at that point in time older and not really. I mean, I just was trying to find the right niche, because I'd been in an industry that was kind of a dying industry, and it was great for years, and then it started dying off, and I was like, I want to find something that's just going to be really exciting, enthusiastic, something that's going to keep growing, and it's going to be here longer than I am. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get into tech sales. So that's when I got into it. It was hard back then to get in as an older woman, and I got in, crushed it. They found out that, hey, you know what? Some of my skills did translate, and it was just fine. And found myself to be like, there was one point I was in a team of about 200 men and I was the only woman. And it was those instances that drove me to say, we need more women in sales and we need an organization. We need to get companies to hire more women. Anyway, that's what Utah Women in Sales is all about. So we are a group that supports women in all roles. Either they're coming into sales, they want to advance and grow their career, they want to get into leadership. We partner with a lot of really great companies, and probably 80% of our group are women in tech sales, and our sponsors are likely, they follow that same group. You know, we're not all in tech sales, but because that's our network, that's kind of who we end up working with. But there's a difference in just going out and applying for a job or having somebody say, hey, this is my friend, and this is another one of my friends. You guys should talk. You know, a warm introduction just gets you way up the ladder. You'll see some of these jobs, especially right now, because it is a sales reps market. People are paying top dollar for people. They're fighting over people to hire. You know, there's just not enough sales reps out there. And so people are getting really, really good offers right now. And people that are looking to get into sales, you know, you really just have to have the willingness to talk to people, to be able to build relationships, and to be willing to work hard, because there is, in the first stages of your sales career, there's a lot of work to be put in. And then you start recognizing, okay, this is how I do it. It's a lot teaching, storytelling, relationships, you know, just that whole prospect. Those skills and talents are things that will make you be really great in sales. So we work with a lot of businesses, and they let us know, okay, this is what it's like to work at our company. This is what it's like to be a day-to-day, you know, do we have things that support women? Are we remote? Can you work from home? Do we have a daycare? Different things like that. Some do, some don't, some are just right. You know, you can decide. You really get to know the companies and know what they do. So it's important. And then they're out there saying, look, we want to hire. These are positions that we're hiring for, you know, and then you come in and you say, hey, I'm here from Utah Women in Sales, or we're connecting them. A lot of people, like Trina said, we're getting calls all the time. People are reaching out and saying, hey, we need more women. We need to hire all these positions. It's like, man, where were you guys 10 years ago? This is crazy. So if you're thinking about getting into sales, this is really great. I'm just going to tell you a really quick story. It was just a couple of years ago. We had our summit, one of our summits, and a woman came up to me and she said, you know what? I came with one of my friends, and I was not in sales. I came with one of my friends to one of your events, and I just thought, she's like, you got to do this. She said, I found myself a single mom with 4 kids, and suddenly I had to earn all the income, and I really hadn't had a job where I had to do that. I didn't know what I was going to do. Because I was like, literally I was crying. I was on my last rope. And my friend said, you got to come here. Sales could be something for you. And she's like, no, I'm not a salesy person. I'm not like that. And she came to the event. She met some really great women. She realized, wait a minute, they're not like that either. And then she met somebody at a company who introduced her to their HR company. She got hired. Well, I met her a year after that. And she's telling me this story. She said, I made $150,000 last year. And she said, I would have never thought that. And she goes, I had never been in sales before. I thought it was going to be something else. And it wasn't at all. It was just great. It was making friends and having relationships with them, teaching them things, and really helping improve their lives. And that made me a lot of money. And now I can take care of my kids, and it's just changed my life. So, you know, sales isn't what a lot of people think it is. And women are so natural and so powerful. Every place I've ever been, the top producers are women. It's like, get a clue, companies hire more women. So anyway, I don't know if that's too long or too short, but there we go.
It was perfect. So Danette, how do we, is there a cost to join Utah Women in Sales? How do women get involved with your organization?
Yeah, there's not a cost. You can go to our website and just subscribe, then you'll get the information. You can just join events. We have different events and different things going on. We focus on 3 things are really our pillars. It's just going to be skills training at any level. We do motivational training and help, and we do personal development. There's a lot of what we do that help in people that aren't, or women that aren't even in sales. It's just a lot of women in business too. You can go there, follow us. You'll get information about our events. Come to the events, come meet people, do things like what we're doing right here, get involved, and just really start coming a little bit out of your shell sometimes and talk to people. I know it's hard for some of us to do that. Believe it, I've been in sales for a long time and I still get into a big room and I'm just like, I think I'll just stand in the back here. But you just got to get out there and just start talking to people. And so get involved, come into the events, and just, if you're looking for a job, you want a job, we have a lot of jobs that we can connect you with. We've got job boards and different things like that we have. Look at our sponsors. Those sponsors that that are part of Utah Women in Sales are very, very much aggressively looking to hire women. Reach out to them. Anyway, those are some of the things you can do.
Perfect. And I know you have a big event coming up in June and another in October. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
So in June, we have our annual Women in Sales Summit. It has been exploding. COVID was challenging because we had to do it virtually. We're back to in person. We are hoping to get 1,000 women there this year. We just keep bursting at the seams. So it's going to be really awesome. It's an all-day event. We also have one, this is more just really a lot of really good, solid things that'll help you in life and in your career. The one that we have in October is Women in Sales Month. So in celebration of that, we are partnering with the University of Utah, and we have an all-day educational training where it's going to be, and Robin and I have been talking about this and getting involved. Any level, if you're looking to get into sales, if you're looking to advance your career, have different teachers and different classes. So you can go in and sign up for whatever you want to attend, and then just get your curriculum of what you're going to be doing that day. It'll be a lot of fun, a lot of networking, a lot of training, just whatever fits best with you to help you with your career and your growth. And, even if you just want to hang out, come have some fun.
Perfect. So to learn more about you, we can go to your website, Utah Women in Sales. Mm-hmm. We can follow you on LinkedIn, right? You have a LinkedIn group or a LinkedIn page. Yep. And then also on Instagram, is that right?
Instagram and Facebook, yeah.
Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
All the social areas we can find you. Perfect. All right. So thank you so much. That's when we talked about doing a workshop for sales careers, we're like, we've got to get Utah Women in Sales involved. You are the professional organization in the state supporting women in sales, and a wonderful organization, lots of great leaders. They have fun networking events, evening free lunches, different things like that you're doing all the time, which is wonderful. I love to follow your events. All right, so now we're going to move into our panel. Danette is one of our panelists, so you already know a little bit about her, but we also have Andrea and Amanda. Am I getting that right, Derek? I'm looking at your face right now. Okay, so we have Andrea and Amanda, who are both in sales roles at MarketStar, and MarketStar is co-sponsoring this workshop with us today. We are going to be announcing a new program that we're running with them this summer. They are a new partner to us here at Tech Moms. So I'm trying to figure out how to make I'm not so smart at Zoom. So like if I just had, I don't know how to pin all four of you. So we're just going to go back and forth, but I've got my three panelists. So I'm going to start with Andrea. Can you just unmute yourself, take a moment? And before we dive into the first question, just tell us a little bit about yourself, what your role is, how long you've been in sales, and just anything else you want to share with us. So Andrea, go ahead and go first.
Sure, thank you. Hi, my name is Andrea Swanson. I am with MarketStar now just almost 2.5 years. I have been in sales about 21 years. I'm a little dating myself there, but yeah, 21 years. And majority of that time has been spent in tech sales. Currently, my current role, I just moved out of a physical sales position into a more tech position. So I am the global solutions engineer for post and pre-sales for the clients that I support are Google and Citrix for MarketStar currently.
I love your elephants. Those are amazing. Thank you. I love your backdrop. So where are you located? Where are you headquartered? Here in Utah or somewhere else?
No, I'm actually out of Chicago.
Okay, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. MarketStar has a globally dispersed workforce, so you can work for this organization and live anywhere, live in Chicago. Thank you for joining us so much today, Andrea.
Absolutely.
All right, Amanda, can you take a minute and just tell us that much about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Amanda. I have been with MarketStar for almost 5 years now. Been in sales basically my whole life. Most of my time was spent like retail type sales, and MarketStar was really the first time I had joined, any type of tech sales. My current position is function lead / program manager. So I run a sales organization of about 40 people who do the initial sales. And I initially started doing the sales myself, and I've moved myself into this position. And I'm located in Utah, right next to MarketStar headquarters in Ogden. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Lynette, tell us a little bit about your day job aside from running Utah Women in Sales.
Yeah, so I've been in sales leadership right now. I'm leading a sales team. It's fun. Both ends are fun, different types of things. But yeah, so running a team of 8 people, where our company is growing a lot. But we just get in there and we're selling software to companies that need it and partnering up all day long.
And remind us the name of your company.
Oh, sorry. Right now I'm at Scorpion.
Scorpion. Perfect.
Yeah.
So first question, and I'm going to have Amanda answer this first. Why did you choose to go into a sales career?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and this is going to sound kind of cliche, but I'm not sure that I chose it. It kind of just chose me, right? I like I said, I worked in sales. Most of it was in retail. I looked to get out of retail. It was exhausting, being a mom and the hours and the inconsistency and stuff. So I was drawn to a product really. And I, like you kind of mentioned earlier, is like, we're solving problems, and I love to solve problems, and I love to come up with solutions. And I was drawn to MarketStar by a client that they were promoting that was hiring, which was Pinterest. And I'm still on that team. And I had no idea, honestly, what I was getting into. And I loved every single minute of it. It's challenging. But the rewarding thing about, why I chose this and why I'm still here is like, I just use my brain every single day. And I leave just mentally exhausted, but in a good way. And yeah, I guess it just chose me in that aspect, and I love it.
Amanda, that's such an important point. I know that a lot of the women that we work with and coach have this idea like, I've got to choose what I want to do, and then I'm going to spend the whole rest of my career doing it. And our career can take all different directions. And like you said, sometimes the next role just chooses us. So I love that answer. Thank you. All right, Andrea, why did you choose to go into sales?
Unfortunately, I kind of have the same story. I fell into this. Growing up, when I was going to college, I was actually going to school for criminal justice, and I was working for T-Mobile at the time and selling cell phones, and I was doing really well. And next thing I knew, I'm the training manager, I'm a store manager, I'm a regional manager, and just it kept going. And once I left there, I was dealing with some health issues, took 6 months off. I got a call from a recruiter, and that's when the career started into tech. And I was working for a company that sold multiple different vendors. So if you're, Cisco, some of the bigger names in technology today, and to come work for them. And it was one of those where I said, yeah, sure, let's see how this goes. And guess what? Here I am 20 years later.
I love that answer so much. And one of the things that's so exciting is just that you just said, well, what's the worst thing going to happen, right? Sure, I'll give it a shot. And that's, I mean, Trina talked about that too, right? In choosing this. So often our careers, when we see an opportunity in front of us and we think, well, I don't know if I'm really qualified for that. I don't know if I could do it, but why don't I just dive in and see what happens? And most of the time, what happens is great. So thank you so much. All right, Lynette, how did you choose to go into a career in sales?
So I actually started my career being a small business owner and building a business, and I thought, oh, this would be great. I'll have a lot of flexible time for my kids. And, as my family started growing, I started having more kids and the business started growing. I realized, you know what? I'm not spending any time at home. I'm spending every minute here at the office. I'm building. It was just like overwhelming. I thought, this is the opposite of what I wanted. One night I was like so tired and I was almost crying. And I got a call from one of our sales reps, on our team. And I hear the dishes going in the background, his family laughing and everything. And I was like, that really sucks. He makes more money than me some months. And he's home with his family and I'm down here. And I thought, this is crazy. Anyway, the business was doing really well, but I could see the market turning. I thought, you know what, I'm going to sell this business. I'm just going to go into sales. I want to be home. I want to make that kind of money that he's making, and I want to be with my family. Anyway, that's when I decided to make that pivot. So I sold the business, went just straight into sales. Because I mean, when you're a business owner, you're in sales because you're always in sales, like you said. But you know, you just realize you don't even realize that you're doing that. So anyway, that's how I got into sales. One of the reasons I was looking for that mostly is, like I said, it was my family. My family's grown. I am a mother of 8 kids. I needed flexibility. I cannot sit at a desk and get paid hourly and be stuck there and people tell me, no, you can't go to that kid's lunch, mom's at lunch or anything like that. And not being able to spend the time with my kids. And so the flexibility of being able to work, get paid for what I do and have control of my hours, my life, and then find out that I'm probably making more money than a lot of people even expected, more than I expected was even possible, and just having that flexibility, being able to balance my life and my family and everything and just feel really fulfilled. So that's kind of how I got into sales and why I picked it. I picked it, actually. I kind of fell into it, but then I picked it. It's like, yeah, I do like that.
Yeah. And recognizing that you were already doing so much sales, being the owner of the whole thing, but recognizing you had more flexibility, more control over your time if you would go into that sales role somewhere else.
Yep.
And Danette, I almost never meet anyone with more kids than me. I think you may win the prize today. If someone has more kids than 8, go ahead and put that in the chat. We'll buy you a ding dong or something like that. That's amazing. So yeah, but that's one of the things that we find. So many women are coming to tech moms wanting to move into tech because they're looking for that flexibility. And sales also within tech is a role where you can have a lot of flexibility over your time, which is fantastic. Okay, next question. Let's start with, okay, Trina's tied with you with 8 kids. All right, let's start with Andrea this time. And I would like you to tell us, what do you find most rewarding about your career? And it can be the role that you have right now, or some of the most rewarding things that you found throughout your career in sales.
Sure, absolutely. I think one of the most rewarding pieces of this, and we've kind of talked a little bit about this over a few comments here, is that there's so many different avenues you can go. I think that's one of the biggest thing. My position is not just sales leads you into training and development of people. It also leads you into leadership positions. There's also abilities to, like I did, go from sales into tech sales. So the most rewarding part is just the abilities of things that you pick up. And even if you don't have experience with them, you're going to come in contact with them. Right now I'm working with our technical marketing group, which totally outside my wheelhouse, and trying to learn how to, build technical marketing slicks for companies, those kinds of things. It's a lot of different skill sets that you get to pick up on so that you get to add that to your resume too. But also it gets you to give you an understanding of what you like to do, right? Like you get to full understanding of, I like doing this versus this. And so that's, I think, been the best part for me, is really kind of growing through my career of learning different avenues within sales and how I can go, and then kind of moving my career in that path.
Perfect. Thank you so much. One of the things that we're going to be talking about a little bit later with MarketStar is the many, many different types of roles that there are in sales. And I love how you just said, you're learning so many different skills and you figure out, oh, I like to be in this part of it. I'm going to focus a little bit more on that. So thank you so much. All right, Danette, what do you find most rewarding?
There's a lot. I mean, what I find the most rewarding is when I actually change things in a dramatic way for people, to solve a problem. They're so frustrated or they're fighting something, and I can come in and I can say, let's take a look at this. Let's dig into this. Here's a product. This will solve it. And then watching that change, and then watching how that helps their business grow or their lives change. I think that's probably the most rewarding, is actually just being that change maker, bringing goodness to people. It just feels really good and very satisfying. You don't get that a lot in a lot of what you do, but in sales, you get it almost every time you close a deal. So
I love it. I put this note in the LinkedIn post that I wrote about this workshop today, that my husband, when he, back in the early stages of his career, he had this mindset about sales too. No, sales isn't for me. It's pushy, it's aggressive, all this other stuff. And he talked to a friend of ours who had a long career in sales, and he said, Craig, sales is just helping people solve their problems. You're just helping people. You're only selling to people in tech, to people who actually need your solution. So you're helping people out all the time, which changed my husband's mind. And then he went and launched a business and was selling all day long. So perfect. Thank you so much, Lynette. All right, Amanda, what do you find most rewarding about this role or prior roles that you've had?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said so far. And I would say, I agree strongly with like figuring things out, right? Trying to figure out a solution, but when that solution actually comes and you see the impact that it makes, whether it's a solution for a client that you're scheduling, you're trying to sell a big deal to, and then that closes and the client's super happy. And it's like, oh my gosh, we got to the solution. Especially the more complex the problem is and trying to figure it out. We do it every single day. And I would say in addition to that, this world is ever changing, right? Like every time I turn around, something is different and I have to learn something new. So the amount of skill sets and the different skill sets I have to learn every single week really keep me on my toes. So there's never been a single day or a single situation where I've been bored, right? Like maybe overwhelmed at times with how much I still have to learn, but never like just stagnant and bored. I'm just learning constantly, which feels really good and it's really rewarding.
I'm not so good at coming off mute. You think I'd be a pro at coming off mute by now. Thank you so much. So I want to add in another question. Sorry, friends, that I didn't prep you for this, but in talking about those skills, all of you have mentioned the learning of new skills. So I would love for you to think of maybe the top 3 skills that you use all the time in your sales roles. And also, in addition, if they're not the same skills, any skills that you developed in other places of your life that you're able to also use and leverage in a sales role. So those are kind of 2 different questions about your skills. So top 3 skills you're using all the time, and at least 1 that you've developed in other places that are also beneficial in sales. Lynette, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I think the thing that maybe scares some people about technology is they feel like they have to be like an engineer or something like that. And yeah, if you're going to be an engineer, then you have to be an engineer. But if you're in sales, you don't need to do that. What you need to do is you need to understand what your product can do to help somebody. You need to be a really good storyteller so you can convey that message so they understand it and they're with you. You need to be able to do a demo that doesn't get you in the weeds where you can't answer the questions, and make sure you have support if you need it. But I think it's just, some of the skills that I learned, to me, I just feel like I'm not done with my day unless I learn something. So the fear of like having to be just this technology genius is not, don't shy away from tech sales because you feel like you have to do that, because you don't. Absolutely not. I still struggle with my cell phone. My kids grab it. It's like, let me fix it, Mom. It's like, I sell tech. It's like, here, take my phone. But it's just, there's something new every day. And I love to see the new things that are coming out. I love to see the new products. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is going to change lives. And to be able to see that vision of where it's going to go and what it's going to do. And then they add things to it. And you're just like, oh, this is amazing. So technology does that all the time because it's always changing. You're always learning, always growing. And it's just exciting to see the things that people come up with. I'm just like, how do they think of this stuff? But it's just incredible. So I just like to learn that. I think as far as my career goes, though, the same basic skills are there that's been in any place. You have to have people skills. You have to have that storytelling. You have to really be able to communicate, and people have to trust you. If they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. It doesn't matter how good your product is. So, be real, be yourself.
Love it. Those are fantastic answers. Andrea, how about you? 3 skills that you use all the time? Go ahead.
Communication's probably the biggest one, right? Whether it be communicating with the clients. In my particular role, sometimes I'm dealing with very technical clients and I have to speak tech language to them. But then I also have the business side of the role, right? And people who have absolutely no idea what's going on the tech side, and I have to speak it in layman's terms. So communication skills, along with coaching and developing our team with that as well. I think another thing is obviously relationship building. You will get nowhere in sales if you do not build relationships. And the funniest thing is, I was thinking about some of the questions that were posed the other day, and I have some of my clients that have been with me for 20 years now. I literally can call them and I have full relationships of friendships with them. And I've developed those over the years, which is amazing things that you don't think about when you get into this industry of how many clients you might actually have a lot in common with, and you end up being friends with outside of them being clients. I think another thing is being open to change and growth, right? As we have all said, especially with tech, because tech is changing daily. It's keeping yourself up to date on the newest technology, being willing to grow with that technology as it changes and you pivot with it. I think are some of the 3 top skills. As far as, some of the other places that I've created those skills, if you think about it, think about when you go to the coffee shop and you talk with just friends one-on-one, the other other moms you're having coffee with, networking events. That's one of those, let me tell you, that will get me out of my shell in a heartbeat. I'm like you, I'd rather stand in the back, but I've gotten better at getting at network events and coming out and, being myself. And I think another really big area for me is I play sand volleyball consistently. We have an indoor court here too. But I have a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people that I meet in different businesses, but also in technology. So I think a lot of those skills come in any type of the areas that we work with or that we're going to, whether it be the coffee shop or sports we go to, our kids' sports even.
I am a huge volleyball player. The next time you're out here in Utah, I was playing volleyball this morning, actually. I love it. That's awesome, Andrea. So you talked about communication skills, relationship building skills, and adaptability, the ability to move and pivot as things change. Fantastic. Okay, Amanda, tell us a little bit about the skills you use all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say one of them, first and foremost, I'm probably one of the biggest introverts you will ever meet. Like, I hate doing things like this. Like, it's just against everything that I do, but forcing myself to be put in these types of situations, right? My director asked me to do this and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But like, it's important for me to network. So just learning how to network and, work with other people and do large things at scale has been a big one for me. And like the teams that I lead, like I have to get in front of 30, 40 people and talk to them. And it's like, I don't want to do that. But of course, we're not growing if we're inside our comfort zone. So forcing myself to do that. And I'd say another one, I would say active listening, right? Like learning how to ask the right questions in order to listen to people, whether we're talking to our clients and really understanding where their problems are. If I'm coaching, another leader on my team, I'm learning really how to listen to people and just the cues, and it helps me in my everyday life, right? And I would say on top of that, like objection handling, right? Like learning how to really like listen and understand the needs of the business or the people that I'm working with, and then handle those objections. Like it's even helping me raise my teenager, right? They object me all the time. And so learning how to listen and then, rebuttal with, okay, well, here's the solution for that. So it's really just like helping me hone in those skills.
I am so, oh yeah, go ahead, Lynette.
Oh, sorry. I was like, just one more. When she was saying that, it's like, what, the other one is just asking questions. It's just like being a doctor, you have to get in and diagnose what the problem is, and just being able to really understand how to ask the right questions so that you can match that up to what you can solve, and to be able to listen. Listening is so important. People try to talk all the time, but really get the customer talking and then listen to where their problems are, and just being able to line up. That's just, good questions and good direction there. It's just, you learn that from your teenagers too. It's like, did you brush your teeth today with the toothbrush? It's just like, sometimes you just have to go into that. But anyway, I just want to throw that in real quick.
Thank you so much. And Amanda, I am so glad, because I was just about to ask, if you didn't say this, is there a role for an introvert in sales, right? Because one of the things, like I am an extreme extrovert, probably as much as you'll ever come across. And I love what you said, Amanda, because introverts are often much better at listening than extroverts are, because we always just want to talk, right? And so I love that point that if you're on this call today and you're like, all these women, they love to get out, they love to talk to people, and I don't love to do that. Look at Amanda. You do not have to be an extrovert to find your place and to find the opportunity to be a great sales person and sales leader. All right, next question. What is your biggest challenge? What do you find most challenging about your role? And even add a little bit, what did you find most challenging when you were just starting out? Because we're going to be working with women who are looking to launch into sales. Let's have Andrea go first.
Okay. So I think when I first started out, and again, this is 20 years ago, I don't feel like maybe this is so relevant. I think some of it was, especially in tech, I was one of the only girls. Sometimes still in the engineering field, I am. So that is a little bit of the case. But I think sometimes it's hard because in the beginning for myself, when I first started, was really getting my voice out there, right? So learning the technology itself and learning sales and trying to get good at it, and then trying to figure out how to use my voice to get myself noticed, so that I could, choose a different position than what I was working in. I think was one of the biggest challenges I faced in the beginning. Another one, and that I'm completely honest and open with, was I was one of those that thought I knew everything, and I was not coachable in the beginning at all. So that was one of the things. I had a great mentor and leader that literally sat me down and kind of really showed me that it's about being humble, and it's about listening and taking it in, and coaching yourself internally to help you grow and develop. I think was one of the other biggest challenges I faced for myself. And I've always said that. And I think the third one is really learning how to actively listen, right? And we've said that because it is one of the biggest areas of this, but it's hard sometimes because what you think you hear sometimes isn't always what the client's saying. And so trying to make sure that you understand that, I've gotten better at making, more questions and asking those questions ahead of time. But I think those have been my biggest challenges coming up in this industry.
Thank you so much. Amanda, how about you? What have you found most challenging in your role?
Yeah, I would say for me, part of this most challenging is really just talking myself up, right? Like I definitely am one that's going to fly under the radar, do my job, and you're going to see how I do it, right? And I got called out. I was like, look, I'm not going to tap you on the shoulder if you want a promotion. If this is something that you want, you have to demand your seat at the table. And helping showcase like, this is what I've done in my career, and this is how successful I've been. It feels like bragging, and I don't want to do that because I'm not a bragger. I just want to show you how I live, not tell you. In addition, it's like being vulnerable in those situations. I think I read a stat somewhere, it's like women won't apply for a job or a promotion unless they check off every single box of the requirements, right? And I look at these jobs that I want, and I'm like, I only get 9 out of 10 of these. So I'm never going to be ready for this. And I have this default. It's like, I have to be able to be perfect in order to apply for what I want versus learn how to do it and ask for the help and like showcase, like, this is who I am, what I'm working on, and what I want.
So important to call out that self-advocacy that we have to be, and that's another part of sales, not just selling your product to other companies, but selling yourself to your managers, to your leaders, and saying, I need to be moving up, I'm providing great value. Just the second half of that stat is that, yes, women will often not apply for jobs till they have about 90% or more of the qualifications, and men will often apply for roles if they have around 50% or 60%. So that's something that we all got to work on. We work really hard at Tech Moms to make sure, just apply. The world will not end. If you don't get the job, go ahead and go for it. Thank you so much. All right, Lynette, biggest challenges.
Yeah, so I've probably got 2 biggest challenges, and I think that they're just life themes, I guess. The first one is just that imposter syndrome. I mean, I always think, oh my gosh, I'm just not as good as they are. They're always better than me. They, and then just really beating myself up on I don't sell as good as them. I don't sound as good, and you just like, you got to get out of your own head. It's just really hard because sometimes you just really think you're not good enough, and that if they realize that I don't know what I'm talking about in this call, I just like got to cover it. It's just this a whole thing of imposter syndrome. Even, and like what Amanda was saying, even applying for jobs, I'm just like, oh, I'm not good enough. And then I don't apply for jobs, and then I get mad, and because then I look at people that I've worked with, and I was like, they got that job. They don't know half of what they're talking about. How did that happen? And then I get, so it's that whole imposter, not believing in yourself. And I think women have that a lot. I don't think it's just, I think it's more common than we think. And we all feel like, oh, if they find out that I really don't know that. But like you said, men will just do it anyway. They don't care. Women are just like, oh, I can't expose myself. So that's probably one of the biggest things that's one of my bigger challenges. And on that same venue, so I'm in tech sales, and it takes me a little bit longer to really understand the product. It's not that I can't understand it, but it'll take me a little bit longer than anybody else. And I feel like that also feeds into the imposter syndrome of, they get it and I don't get it, but I do apply myself. So I have to work harder to understand it. And then once I understand it, I find that I understand it better and deeper. But but it just takes me a little longer. So that's kind of one of the things I struggle with, is just, I really have to, I know that about myself, but I just have to apply the time to really understand it.
Information in the Fly Delta app and on delta.com under my.
All right, thank you so much. So last question. What we've got a lot of women on this call today who are considering sales, tech sales as a pathway for them. So what is one thing that you wish women knew about the sales industry, sales roles, women who are looking at it as a possibility? Let's start with Amanda.
Yeah, I think we touched on this a little bit, but that the opportunities in sales are endless. Like just the areas that you can go into, the verticals you can go to, the positions that you can hold, it's absolutely endless. It's not just, you know, one position in sales, but you can pick a product that you're passionate about. You can go in enablement and operations and leadership, you know, whatever, you know, it drives you. There's so many areas to go to. And in addition to that, it's like, yeah, I think you touched on this, is the money is good. It's like wherever you go, there's opportunity and the compensation is good. And there's not enough women in sales. And I think people are actively looking to have more women in sales and, you know, be more successful there. So the opportunity is just endless on what you can accomplish and where you can go.
Thank you so much. Lynette.
Yeah, I think a lot of women, everybody just thinks sales is something that it's not. I mean, you always have this picture of what a sales rep is, you see it in movies, and it's not that at all. Sales, women have probably the most natural ability to be incredible in sales. And you can't teach a lot of that. You can't teach it. It's just ingrained. And if women knew how successful they could be, and like I said earlier, every company I've ever been at, the top sales reps are women. And it's not because they've gone to college and they've got more degrees and it's because they've got these natural abilities and this work ethic and this ability to connect with people that is just incredible. And when you realize the freedom that you get and the flexibility that you get, and how much money you can actually make, it's just kind of a no-brainer. And I just wish women knew that. I wish they knew that these opportunities really, every sales team should just be filled with women, because they'd be the most successful sales team if we could only get women to believe that. But, you know, and to know that. And that's kind of part of what we just need to do, is get the word out there, because it is really, really a great career for women.
Thank you so much. That's such an important point. I was talking to my sister this morning, trying to get her neighbor to come into this workshop today to learn a little bit more about it. And one of the things I said is that that sales is one of the careers with such high potential for upside, with a really low barrier to entry. You cannot become a software engineer with no training, no experience, you know, just nothing, right? But you can move into a sales role and get up there based on your personality, your willingness to work hard, these other things as well. So the barrier to entry for these entry-level roles is very different from a lot of other roles, and so much opportunity. So it's a really cool space for us to be talking about. All right, Andrea, bring us home.
Awesome. I really want to hone in on the introvert versus extrovert. And I think this is one of the things that most people get caught up in, especially sales isn't always talking to a customer. There are behind the scenes salespeople who sit in operations. They don't deal with customers whatsoever. They deal with their teams. And so I think this is one of the areas that gets missed the most, is that we think sales, as we all see, you know, on the TV, it's that car salesman, Wolf in Wall Street, stuff like that. Those are not what it is for people. There could be areas of the business that you can get into that if you are an introvert and you don't want to talk to customers all day long, that's okay. There's sales operations people that are needed so much that do just as much and financially make just as much money as some of the salespeople do. And honestly, I think it's one of the most rewarding careers that you can get into, because of the growth internally as a person, and especially for a female, because there are stigmatisms that we as females go into businesses just in general with. And I think it's one of those areas that you will see the growth in yourself and doing things outside of your comfort zone that you won't even realize you're doing, but because of your loving of the job at that point.
Such an important point. I love that. Thank you for drawing that distinction. And also the idea that there are lots of different types of roles. A lot of our tech moms are very interested in the tech, but there are sales engineers that combine the tech and the sales. So you can be a more technical salesperson, a less technical salesperson, more of an extrovert, more of an introvert, lots of different ways to do it. All right. Hey, all three of my panelists, thank you so much. I loved the insights that you brought and for sharing your personal experiences. Now I want to turn some time over to, is it Derek or Danette? I'll just let one of you hop in here to talk about a program that we're going to be running. Now, this program is internal for tech moms. I know we could have anybody on this workshop today, and I hope it's been valuable to everyone, but we're running a program just for tech moms, but it could be valuable for anyone to learn about. So, okay, Derek's going to take it from here for a minute.
I was going to toss it to Danette, so she beat me in the chat. So yeah, so we are just so excited about this opportunity that we have to partner with tech moms in creating a pathway to ease the barrier of entry into the tech world and provide some of that confidence to be able to, when you apply for that job, know that you are qualified for that job. And so as we went through and we met with the Tech Moms leadership, we talked about some different skills and some different foundational elements that we felt were important to entering into the sales world. And so we outlined a 8-week curriculum that will give you 10 weeks to go through. So we're going to provide some flexibility. It's not, we're wanting to put in some self-paced stuff, some virtual stuff. Nothing will be in person. So there won't be a need to drive anywhere or attend anywhere. You can attend from your home or wherever you need to attend from. And then a lot of activities and activity-based learning incorporated within it. And so that was kind of the foundational or the idea that we went about creating it. And so Danette, I'd like to turn it over to you and ask if I missed anything about explaining it. But other than that, I'd just like to answer questions. I know our tech moms have provided a lot of information on it and talked it up a bit. I'd love to just answer questions. But Danette, is there anything else that I missed before that?
No, I'm excited as well. And the conversation today really highlighted the skills that are so inherent in what we see being successful. To Lynette and Andrea and Amanda's point, problem solving and communication, all of that's so key. And then you put the knowledge of the sales cycle and some tech enablement to that, and you are on a pathway to success. So the only thing I would add to that is through the MarketStar Foundation, we're able to offer this for free. So there's no cost to enroll. We just need your commitment to complete it. And that we also want to give you a real opportunity to interview for a job that you're interested in at the end. And we guarantee you an opportunity to interview with the MarketStar jobs that you're interested in through our job board. It's an incredibly growing field right now. If you go out and look at some of the market reports, outsourced sales is a huge market that you can enter into, and tech sales is a really incredible niche to be able to do that in. And we're excited to help you be successful. If this is interesting and matches your skill set and a place that you want to gain the skills and then pivot in any of the directions that we heard about today, it's all about skill-based. Instead of sales, I would say skills. They're skills that empower you to be successful.
So we've got a question here in the chat. So many sales jobs ask for experience. How do we deal with that if we don't have experience?
That is a fantastic question. And I'm actually going to pick on Amanda for this question. Amanda has probably done her fair share of hiring within her role. And I'd like to ask her to talk about how she looks at experience for the roles that she's hiring for. So. Yeah,
a good question. I mean, anytime we're hiring something, obviously we want to hire the best candidates and we look for like, okay, what have you done? But this goes back to saying too, it's like, we don't apply for something if it says that we need to have X experience here, but how do you get that experience if every position says that? And so I'd say, in looking at this, we all have experience in sales. Like you mentioned before, everything we do is in sales. We're selling to, even in school, right? We're selling what we're doing to our teachers, to our mentors, to our families. Like we're always doing this, and sales is solutions, right? And so if you think of like Do I have experience selling actual products, or can I actually problem solve and provide solutions to people and individuals, is what you need to think through. Like, apply for the job, right? Nothing's going to happen if you don't apply. And so if you don't apply it, then you don't get it. I think my husband always says maybe it was Michael Jordan, I don't know, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you don't take the shot, you won't get it. And I hire plenty of people without sales experience. And generally what I look for is someone who can communicate really well, and is really eager to learn, because we can teach sales, we can teach you how to problem solve and how to find solutions. And so finding the right people who are looking for those type of people and willing to teach them, which MarketStar has definitely accelerated my career in that aspect, right? So there are companies and people out there just looking for people who will communicate and really be coachable and eager to learn.
Yeah, I love that, Amanda. And I would just add on just a little piece about the curriculum. At the tail end of the curriculum, we're going to be pulling in our talent acquisition team to actually walk through that. And how do you present yourself in situations where you may not feel like you have experience, but you really do? And so how do you articulate that in those interviews? So we'll be pulling in a team to coach you through that.
I love it. And Derek, one of the things that we've seen in the curriculum is you're doing a lot of experiential learning, as you mentioned. So you're learning how to do a lead qualification, and then you're practicing it. You're learning how to do handling objections, and then you practice it. And so I think that anybody who does this program is going to get a lot of experience. Yes. So Vanessa, I can find a way to show you a list of the things that are in the curriculum. If you'll reach out to me, we'll let you know. We're at our time right now. So just for all the tech moms on this call, we're going to put in Slack today an application for this program. Basically, it's just like, what's your name? When did you finish Tech Moms? Can you commit to the program? It's not a tough application at all, but there will be a lot more information about the program. And I'm here. I can refer you to Derek if you've got other questions, but this is a really fantastic opportunity. And the guaranteed job interview at MarketStar is awesome, but you don't need to work at MarketStar when you're done with this. You could apply for any job anywhere. And so we just are really grateful to everybody who helped us out with this workshop today. We appreciate your time and your willingness to share your expertise to our panelists. Get involved, go find Utah Women in Sales, follow them, and reach out to us. If this program sounds like a good fit for you, we'd love to see you doing this this summer. It's going to be June to August. So it's going to be over the summertime, but really asynchronous. We built in time for you to do it. So if you're at Disneyland for a week, you don't have to do your homework that week. You can do it the next week. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. Don't forget to join us next week when we hear from Vanessa Quigley from Chatbooks, and thanks for coming today. Have a great week.